Okay, now we're ready to set up the cutting operations. You'll see already that your model has lots of geometry and guides and tabs sitting around it, way more than your actual part geometry itself. You can see how it could quickly get quite complicated in a bigger model with more parts that are separated on a sheet. Just know that being methodical about this, having your bounding boxes and your guides and your tabs all nicely put into place is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of heartache down the line. The CNC is something where you can easily half the time of a job just by setting it up correctly. Okay, so we've seen the 2-axis operations before. We were picking profiling last time. Now we're going to go into 3-axis. And I only have 2 here. Yours is going to look a little bit different than this. Horizontal roughing is the one that we're going to start with. So the window looks much the same. I'm using RhinoCam 2017 here. You might have 2018. They're basically the same. We're just going to go through tab by tab really quickly and set this up. I'm going to hesitate a little bit on the things that are different from the 2D, but I think you'll find that this is actually simpler. So for control geometry, or in this case it's called containment regions, I'm going to select that offset perimeter curve. And that's it. You don't have to do anything with the geometry itself. You're just telling it what to cut inside, and it looks down, sees it, and tries to cut it. Tool, we're going to use the same diameter tool as last time, but this time use a ball tool. The ball tool is much better at shaping 3-dimensional objects. The compromise that you get with the ball tool is that it will leave tiny ridges behind in between your tool paths. 025 ball. Save as new tool. OK. Feeds and speeds. We're working with foam, which is the most forgiving substance of all, other than marshmallow. 12,000 for the spindle speed. And I'm just going to use the same .240 plywood speeds from before. Foam is more forgiving than plywood, but it's a small object, and as a starting point, I'm just going to use that same number for reference. Check that your clearance plane is in the right place. It should be in this file because it's clean. There's no stray geometry anywhere. Cut parameters is when it gets a little bit different. So it looks sort of similar to the profiling operation, except that there is this option for step over distance. This is the only thing in this window in 99% of cases that we're concerned with. So the step over distance is the distance that the tool is going to move sideways while it's trying to clear out all the material from a single level of your model. It's kind of going to make a Zen rock garden pattern as it does it, but you have to tell it how much to step over. Like with step down, like we talked about last time, 50% of the tool diameter is a good starting point. You can be more aggressive with foam. You'll have to be actually gentler with other materials. But always start there, see how long your file is going to take, and then if you decide that you can be a little bit more aggressive, then do that. You'll notice that different from the cut levels, different from let's go to cut levels. Different from cut levels in 2D, where it asked you what the total cut depth was and then asked you for a rough or finish pass to determine the step down. This asks you explicitly just what you want the tool diameter, what you want the step down to be in terms of tool diameter. Default is 50%. That's our sort of default rule of thumb. So that's good. And that, my friends, is it. It should take a minute, if it's a large file, to generate the preview. But what you're looking for is to see that you're making a lot of passes. They should be stepping down in section. They should be making this sort of concentric Zen pattern in plan. And they should be contained to the region that you've told it to contain them to. Notice that it is cutting out, it is not cutting out these tabs. That toolpath is going and stopping before it gets to the tab. It's leaving the tab behind. It considers the tab a part of your model. That's why it's not cutting it.